The new year has only just begun, and the planet is already sending us a clear message. It's too early to relax. While some people were welcoming 2026 with champagne, others weren't so lucky. They were leaving their houses and running into the streets in panic, under the blaring sound of sirens. On January 3rd, a certain footage spread around the world. The president of the country abruptly finishes his official speech and leaves the room. Outside, skyscrapers are swaying. Emergency alerts are lighting up phone screens. Mexico, the state of Guerrero, a resort city in chaos. The capital Mexico City is frozen in anticipation. And this was only the beginning. Because after the first hit came something that no one expected, nearly 1,000 aftershocks in less than a single day. The ground literally would not stop shaking. But that wasn't even the most frightening part. Scientists looked at tectonic plates map and saw an alarming picture. What happened in Mexico may have been just a warning, a little taste of what could come next. And this time, we're talking about an entire region, from the Mexican coast all the way to California. In this video, I'll tell you everything about the disaster that forced experts to start talking about global risks. Here are the key questions we'll answer. Why nearly 1,000 aftershocks in one day are considered an abnormality, even for a seismically hot zone like this? Is it true that Mexico City is one of the most dangerous cities on Earth when it comes to earthquakes? And whether the events in Mexico could mean a possible future catastrophe on the west coast of the United States, and when to expect it. January 3rd, 2026. Friday morning. The President of Mexico is holding his first press conference of the new year at the National Palace. Suddenly, a sharp wail of sirens cuts through the atmosphere. Buildings begin to sway. The President is trying to maintain composure while addressing the journalists, and then heads for the exit. At the same moment, the real disaster is unfolding in the south of the country. The epicenter is in the state of Guerrero, near the town of San Marcos, just 65 kilometers from the famous resort city of Acapulco, where hundreds of tourists were enjoying a quiet morning by the Pacific Ocean. Magnitude 6.5. Depth, 35 kilometers. That may seem deep, but in earthquake terms, this is relatively shallow, which makes such earthquakes even more dangerous and destructive. The tall hotel buildings are swaying like pendulums. Statues crack under stress. Subway trains are jumping on the tracks. People run into the streets in panic, not fully understanding what's going on. Mexico's seismic alert system works exactly as designed. Sirens are going off across the country, from Mexico City to coastal resorts. The capital is more than 400 kilometers away from the epicenter, yet the shaking could be felt even there. That proves how powerful the hit was. Tourists, many of whom were experiencing an earthquake for the first time, don't know what to do. But locals are acting differently. Calmly and quickly they evacuate the buildings without panic. On the roads, landslides are happening. Asphalt cracks open. In the mountains, falling rocks block highways. And this is only the first wave. What comes next exceeds all expectations. 936 aftershocks in just a few hours. You heard it right. Mexico's seismological service recorded exactly that many. The ground simply refused to settle. And this kind of relentless shaking can break people psychologically, even those who are trained. Because aftershocks can last for weeks. You don't know when they're gonna stop. You don't know which one's gonna be stronger than the previous. Specialists continue monitoring every tremor, projecting models and forecasts. But absolute certainty is not granted. As reports flood in from numerous other states, the scale of the event becomes clearer. Guerrero, where the epicenter was located, suffers the most, as expected. But tremors are recorded in 5 other states as well. That's an enormous area. In some places, buildings sway so violently that residents refuse to return to their homes even after the first wave passes. Acapulco, a city of over 670,000 people, turns into a high-risk zone. Landslides block roads. Parts of the infrastructure are damaged. Tourist season is in full swing. Hotels are packed. And out of nowhere this happens. Many visitors hastily leave. Plans are being cancelled. But some roads have already been damaged or blocked.
As you're getting closer to the epicenter, the situation is getting even worse. San Marcos, a town of about 13,000 people, lies only 15 kilometers from the main quake. There, people literally could feel the ground moving beneath their feet. Older buildings can't withstand the stress. Cracks spread across the walls in real time. And even in Mexico City, hundreds of kilometers away, no one is safe. So why did the capital suffer so much despite the distance? The answer lies underground. Mexico City is built on the bed of a drained ancient lake, which makes the soil soft and mushy. Seismic waves behave differently in such grounds. They amplify and resonate. That's why even distant earthquakes feel stronger here than they should. This is exactly what happened in 1985, when an earthquake with an epicenter 300 kilometers away destroyed thousands of buildings in Mexico City. The engineers learned their lesson. Now they design modern buildings with this risk in mind. But the old buildings remain extremely susceptible. In 2026, residents were reminded of that. Evacuation was fast and organized. Still, in the first few minutes, there were casualties, and dozens of injured. And that's only the official data coming from Mexico City. Other states reported separately from the capital. Civil Protection Services launched a full-scale operation. In Guerrero, crews cleared landslides, inspected every bridge and overpass. Engineers worked around the clock. The U.S. Geological Survey issued a tsunami warning. It sounded serious at first, but was quickly cancelled. Readings showed no change in sea level and no vertical movement of the ocean floor. This time, it seems, the worst case was avoided. Tourism, however, took a big hit. Reservations were cancelled. Some tourists demanded a full refund. Hotels suffered losses not only from damage, but from a mass exodus of guests. Mexico has one of the world's most advanced earthquake warning systems, SEISMIC. It detects seismic activity along the Pacific coast and can warn residents in nearby and central regions 50 to 100 seconds before shaking begins, depending on the epicenter. You might say that's not enough time, but sometimes, it's enough to save lives. Now, the main question, why Mexico, and what's really happening there? Earthquakes in Mexico are not random. They're pretty common. They are part of everyday reality. The reason is simple. Mexico sits at the intersection of major tectonic plates, the North American plate, the Pacific plate, and the Cocos plate. Imagine continent-sized slabs of rock floating on the planet's molten mantle. They are constantly moving. Slowly. But the pressure builds to tremendous levels. The most dangerous zone lies along Mexico's southern coast. There, the oceanic Cocos plate is being forced beneath the continental North American plate, a process called subduction. The plate is bending and grinding. Tension is building for decades. And then, the release. All that energy is unleashed in seconds. Just like in Japan. The epicenter of this earthquake was located near the Middle America Trench, a deep underwater system along the coast. One of the most dangerous places in the region. At a depth of 35 kilometers, the rupture was shallow. And the shallower the rupture, the stronger the destruction at the surface. The energy simply doesn't have enough time to dissipate. So what can we predict from all of this? Can we even predict anything, when it comes to earthquakes? Modern science cannot accurately tell the exact time and place of an earthquake. We only know the risk zones and probabilities. There is a well-known area called the Guerrero Seismic Gap, a stretch of coastline near Acapulco that hasn't produced a major earthquake in a very long time. Too long. Tension has been building there for over a century, and scientists are nervous. The longer the silence, the stronger the eventual release may be. So can another major earthquake happen in Mexico soon? The answer is simple, yes. Tectonic plates are always moving. Subduction continues. Pressure is building right now, while you're watching this video. Magnitude 6+ earthquakes happen here every few years. Magnitude 7, about once a decade. Magnitude 8 or higher, roughly once a century. But these are average numbers. Nature doesn't follow schedules. After the disaster, many people have a question. What about the United States? A reasonable question. The U.S. West Coast is also in a dangerous zone. California, Oregon, Washington, are all part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. But the mechanism is different. In California, the main threat is the San Andreas Fault, a transform boundary where two plates slide past each other horizontally. Friction is huge. Earthquakes are inevitable. Magnitude 7 or higher is a realistic scenario. San Francisco, Los Angeles, both are at risk. However, this type of horizontal motion rarely creates tsunamis. But it's different in the Cascadia subduction zone in the Pacific Northwest. There, the Juan de Fuca plate dives beneath North America, similar to Mexico. The last major earthquake there happened in 1700. Estimated magnitude, 9.0. It generated a tsunami that reached Japan. But here's the key point. Mexican earthquakes and Cascadia threats are not directly connected. They are thousands of kilometers apart. There is no confirmed mechanism for stress transfer on such scales in weeks or months. Now, about tsunamis. Most earthquakes, even with magnitude of 6 to 6.5, do not create tsunamis. For that, specific conditions are required: underwater rupture, vertical movement of the seabed, high magnitude. In this case, those conditions did not align. The ocean floor did not shift. No wave was generated. But that doesn't mean the danger doesn't exist. If a magnitude 8+ event occurs in Mexico's subduction zone under the right conditions, a tsunami would be inevitable, and it would hit the entire west coast of the Americas. In that scenario, time would be measured in minutes. To sum it up, the January 2026 earthquake in Mexico happened for the same reason as hundreds of others in the region: the movement and interaction of tectonic plates, especially the subduction of the Cocos Plate beneath the North American Plate. These processes are ongoing, and that means new earthquakes of magnitude 67 and higher are very likely in the coming years. As for the United States, active seismic zones are present there as well, but their mechanisms and frequencies are different and do not directly correlate to Mexico's events. That's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel.